Wasp B, the doomed egg planet. A pitch-black, violently deformed world, stretched into the exact physical shape of a massive cosmic egg. Wasp B is a gas giant trapped in a terrifying death spiral, whipping around its host star so fast that an entire year lasts just 24 hours. The gravitational pull from the star is so overwhelmingly uneven that the gravity pulling at the planet's front is millions of times stronger than the gravity pulling at its back. The planet is literally being stretched apart on a cosmic torture rack, violently bleeding a continuous glowing stream of superheated atmosphere straight into the hungry mouth of its star. It is a slow, agonizing planetary execution. But the next object proves that stars themselves can also be stripped apart, leaving behind unimaginable trails in the dark. 2. Gliese 436b, the burning ice planet. A blistering sphere of solid ice, completely engulfed in violently roaring physical flames. This impossible planet sits so uncomfortably close to its host star that its surface temperature reaches a scorching 822 degrees Fahrenheit. By all laws of basic chemistry, the planet should instantly boil away into steam. But the sheer, brute physical gravity of this world is so terrifyingly strong that it violently compresses the melting water back down into a solid, impenetrable crystalline structure known as Iax. The surface is literally a burning ocean of solid ice. It is a world of pure paradox. Burning but never melting. But as strange as this planet is, the next object on our list is actively being physically tortured to death by its own sun. 3. Mira A, the comet star. A rapidly dying, violently throbbing red giant star, tearing through the vacuum of space so fast it leaves a glowing, physical tail of shed matter 13 light-years long. From Earth, we think of comets as tiny rocks trailing ice. Mira A is an entire colossal star acting exactly like a comet. It is physically plunging through the Milky Way at 291,000 miles per hour, blasting off massive outer layers of carbon and oxygen as it violently plows through interstellar gas. Its glowing tail stretches so unimaginably far that it would take a beam of light 13 full years just to travel from one end of the physical tail to the other. Stars leaving trails are a spectacular sight, but the next object leaves behind a shape so utterly perfect it deeply defies the chaos of nature. 4. The Red Rectangle Nebula. A perfectly sharp glowing red X, spanning completely across the vacuum of deep space, perfectly mimicking a colossal, geometric ladder. In space, violent explosions and gravity create swirling clouds, scattered dust, and round spheres. Nature does not produce perfect straight lines, but the red rectangle completely shatters this logic. As the central dying star violently ejects gas, a thick disk of invisible dust pinches the blast at the equator, forcing the glowing red plasma to physically shoot out in two perfect, laser-straight cones. The result looks exactly like an artificial glowing neon structure built by a cosmic architect. Geometric shapes in space break basic human intuition, but the next anomaly completely shatters the fundamental laws of how galaxies are supposed to be built. Hoag's object, the disconnected galaxy, a perfectly circular, glowing golden core of tightly packed ancient stars, entirely surrounded by an agonizingly empty gap of pure pitch-black space. Beyond that void sits a perfect, neon blue ring of young stars spinning in complete isolation. This is a galaxy inside a galaxy, and it physically should not exist. If you place the Milky Way in that dark gap, there would be zero physical bridge of dust, gas, or gravity connecting the inner yellow core to the outer blue ring. It is an astronomical murder mystery. Scientists believe another galaxy may have violently pierced straight through the center billions of years ago like a cosmic bullet, leaving this perfect, shattered ring behind. It sits isolated and quiet, but the next object on our list is a chaotic refusal to stay quiet, and a refusal to stay dead. 6. Zombie Star Type Iax Supernova Survivor. A bruised, severely battered white dwarf star drifting completely alone, radiating a deeply sinister, highly unstable heat. When a normal white dwarf eats too much gas from a neighbor, it violently detonates in a supernova, entirely erasing itself from physical existence. But a zombie star survives the blast. By pure freak cosmic luck, the nuclear detonation stalls out at the absolute last microsecond. The star violently explodes, blasting most of its mass into deep space. But a blackened, fractured core miraculously survives, limping away into the dark. These undead embers are physically scarred by their own deaths, permanently glowing with the heat of a failed apocalypse. These undead stars wander the void alone, but sometimes entire dead planetary systems rise from the grave. 7. Pulsar Planets, the Lick Worlds. 3 barren, deeply irradiated orbs. violently circling the spinning, flashing corpse of a dead neutron star. These were the absolute first exoplanets ever discovered by humanity, and they are located in an environment of pure, unrelenting hell. When the host star originally detonated into a supernova, it violently vaporized all of its original planets, turning them into microscopic ash. But over millions of years, that pulverized rock and dust slowly reformed in the dark, physically stitching together entirely new planets out of the ashes of the old ones. They are bathed continuously in lethal, invisible beams of X-ray radiation, stripping them into glowing, sterile wastelands. These worlds are born from violent collisions. But when entire galaxies collide, they create the most agonizing train wrecks in existence. 8. Stephen's Quintet, the galactic train wreck. 5 entire galaxies caught in a violently twisting, slow-motion physical collision, spanning millions of light years. 4 of these colossal structures are actively passing straight through one another, physically ripping billions of stars out of their orbits in long, glowing tidal tails. The sheer friction of the dark matter and physical gas clouds slamming together creates a localized shockwave that violently heats the empty space between the galaxies to millions of degrees. It looks like a beautiful dance, but it is a cosmic-scale slaughterhouse where gravity physically shreds entire worlds by the billions. This violent pull of gravity is easy to see, but the next phenomenon is pulling things we cannot even comprehend. Dark flow, the cosmic current. An invisible, unidirectional river of gravity, physically dragging hundreds of entire galaxy clusters into the great unknown at 2 million miles per hour. This is not the great attractor. This is something far more sinister. Entire patches of the observable universe are actively being violently pulled toward a specific patch of sky in the Centaurus and Hydra constellations. But whatever is physically pulling them is not located in our universe. The mass required to pull hundreds of galaxies at this speed must be located completely beyond the edge of the observable universe, completely hidden from human physics. We are watching a cosmic current drain out into the absolute dark, but this isn't the only evidence that our universe might be interacting with something outside of it. 10. The cosmic cold spot, the multiverse bruise. A colossal, perfectly spherical region of freezing, dead space, baked directly into the ancient microwave background radiation of the universe. This spot is a glaring anomaly, spanning 1.8 billion light-years across, where the physical temperature of the cosmos violently drops for absolutely no apparent reason. According to the standard model of physics, a cold patch this massive simply could not have naturally formed during the Big Bang. Some theoretical physicists propose a deeply terrifying explanation. It is a physical bruise. It is a literal scar left over from when our entire universe violently collided with a parallel universe in the higher dimensions of reality. Multiverse collisions are entirely theoretical. 11. El Gordo, the Fat Cluster. A horrifyingly massive, glowing web of thousands of ancient galaxies, completely breaking the timeline of the universe. El Gordo weighs exactly 3 million billion times the physical mass of our Sun. By the laws of physics, a cluster this unimaginably huge requires 10 billion years of slow gravity to gather this much matter. But El Gordo exists in the very early universe, appearing just a few billion years after the Big Bang. It is the cosmic equivalent of walking into a kindergarten classroom and finding a fully grown, 300-pound bodybuilder sitting at a tiny desk. Its sheer brute mass violently warps the physical light of galaxies behind it, completely defying our understanding of how fast the universe grew. If you've made it this far into the universe's most mind-bending anomalies, drop a like and subscribe, because the next object on this list is a violent eruption happening right in our own cosmic backyard. 12. The Fermi Bubbles, the galactic geysers. 2 incomprehensibly massive, invisible balloons of violently hot gamma radiation, erupting directly out of the top and bottom of the Milky Way galaxy. If you had eyes that could physically see gamma rays, these glowing purple bubbles would take up half of the night sky, dwarfing the moon and the stars. They span a staggering 50,000 light-years from end to end. Millions of years ago, the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy woke up and violently swallowed a massive cloud of gas, burping out a physical shockwave of energy so intense it is still expanding into deep space today. These bubbles are made of sheer, harmless radiation. But the next stars on our list are made of a substance that physically erases regular matter from existence. 13. Antimatter Stars, Anti-Stars. A perfectly normal-looking, shining sphere of light that is secretly composed entirely of reversed, deeply lethal physical matter. In physics, every particle of normal matter has an evil twin, antimatter. When the two physically touch, they instantly annihilate one another in a flash of pure, 100% efficient energy. Astronomers believe that highly isolated pockets of pure antimatter survived the Big Bang, clumping together to form anti-stars. If a normal human-made spacecraft tried to land on an anti-star, the exact microsecond the metal touched the surface, the ship and a chunk of the star would violently erase each other in an explosion billions of times more powerful than a nuclear bomb. These silent bombs could be anywhere, but the next anomaly isn't hiding. It is actively glowing like a radioactive monster. 14. Lyman-Alpha Blob 1, the green slime cloud. A sickeningly massive glowing green cloud of primordial gas, stretching 300,000 light-years across the absolute darkest depths of the early universe. It looks exactly like a colossal, physical drop of glowing green slime floating in the vacuum. This object completely baffles astronomers because it shouldn't be glowing. There are no massive galaxies inside it to light it up. Yet the entire physical structure violently radiates intense ultraviolet energy, acting like a cosmic glow-in-the-dark sticker. Scientists believe it is powered by hidden, violently feeding black holes buried deep within the gas, physically shocking the surrounding hydrogen into a bright, eerie luminescence. It is a massive structure, but the final object on this list is so physically gargantuan. Its very existence breaks the core laws of physics. 15. The Hercules-Corona Borealis Great Wall, the physics breaker. A glowing, branching spiderweb of thousands of violent galaxies, stretching so unfathomably far it physically shatters the core laws of cosmology. This is the single largest physical structure in the entire observable universe. It is 10 billion light-years across. If you shined a flashlight from one end of this wall, it would take the light 10 billion years, almost the entire age of the universe itself, just to physically reach the other side. According to the cosmological principle, matter in the universe is supposed to be evenly distributed. A structure this outrageously massive fundamentally proves that gravity can build walls so large. The human mind cannot even begin to comprehend the sheer, absolute scale of the cosmos.